Waiting on Corey.
There we go. We're live. So there's a Corey coming in right here. Sorry to interrupt the conversation, Fletch, but
Well, yeah. Kind of interesting.
Getting an echo from someone.
I got my cans on, not me.
Yeah, me neither.
Me too.
It's the only guy that doesn't.
Who has
somebody that doesn't have cans on?
What's up, everybody? Are we on YouTube?
Yo.
Yeah, I'm not hearing that now. So
Yeah, we're good, I think.
no echo.
Yeah,
I can see it in there, but yeah, no. So today, as I drop this out, where I need to drop this out, we're actually going to be talking about. Let me see. I'm going to remove this because I keep dropping the wrong shit. Never mind. We're going to be talking about starting over. Okay, so actually, Brad was like, "Okay, here, dude, watch this," and I really enjoyed the concept and watching Grant Cardone on Undercover Billionaire. Have you seen that yet, Fletch?
No.
That's pretty solid. I actually went back and watched. This was season 2, and apparently one guy did it. I think in 2018. And I went back and watched the entire first season and the recap show and everything because I have no life. Yeah, so it's really interesting. The concept of the show. And on the new season they've got 3 different people. So it's Cardone and 2 women on there. They're not working together or anything. They drop them in 3 separate cities. 0 contacts. They've got a working cell phone that has access to the internet and everything. A rundown like truck / like one woman got a Jeep. I think Cardone got like an old school Suburban or something along those lines, just ratted out, paint peeling off. And then they get $100. So they drop them in like Pueblo, Colorado randomly. And then they've got to figure stuff out. And within 90 days, the purpose is to build a business that is valued at $1 million. So I watched, spoiler alert, the guy from the first season.
Don't spoil it, dude. Don't spoil it.
The guy from the first season worked his way up. He created like a restaurant brand and everything. And they valued it between 500,000 and $1 million. So they split the difference and said you built a $750,000 business within 90 days. So he went out and
with $100 and his knowledge.
$100 in his knowledge, no contacts, no nothing. So I was watching it. I was like, man, I wonder what the guys on the show would say if we were to do it, because I'm sure all of us in here would take it digital at some point. We might have to like scrub some toilets for pocket change or whatever to kind of get the stuff up. But I was just curious what everyone on here, what their answer would be, like what their plan, just real quick, would be.
It's interesting because Brad and I and one other gentleman, I think it was 2 months we hit 800K. I think that was the biggest, fastest push that.
Yeah. The only difference there is we were able to use our contacts.
Yeah, we used our contacts in that case. So here's the big difference. And what we're going to do today is I honestly want to see what everyone would do if they had literally, I don't care what money you say. It's not $100. What we're talking about is you're starting over today with the responsibilities that you have to your family, and you have no startup capital, and you have no ability to use your connections. And that's where we're going to start, is literally walk out the door today and figure this out. How are you going to get the next mortgage payment for the family or your turkey meat?
Now, are we going out and are we having to pay for mortgages and everything, Mike? Because they didn't on the show.
I'm saying, like, right here, I want to say your responsibilities that you have today. Okay. Yeah, literally, like, today, starting over.
Yeah, that makes it a little different. Yeah.
Contact. You need to make sure that you get shit rolling as of now, because it's coming up. So we won't say today, because right now it's a little mean to say by the 1st you need to pay your mortgage. You got 30 days to get something going on.
Yeah, we'll just say it's the 1st since it's so close to the 1st. So the 1st to the 1st.
Exactly. And so I know for me, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go find some cash. And the easiest way I can think of where I live is to go flip burgers, dude. Like, straight up. I'm going to go fucking flip burgers. And there's a reason why I'm going to flip burgers, but like the
only thing that worries me about flipping burgers, and just talking out loud here, is you got to wait for that check to come in. You got to get the
Well, yeah,
job.
you
You got to.
do,
I would be looking for cash. Like, what can I do now?
I do agree with that. And if I could find odd jobs, I would take the cash. But here, let's go around. I would be looking to flip burgers because even if I have to make it, I can push a month back, and I don't mind not paying for a month. I could do it with flipping burgers. So go, Brad. What's your thought? Like, what do you?
I'm honestly, first off, I'm going to hit anything online since I've got my phone. Now, do we have internet connection and all that? Do I have my computer, my office, my everything?
You haven't not paid the bills yet.
This is what's beautiful about it. We're building a scenario, and now we get to think within the confines of scenario. So let's build that. Okay, you got a phone, you've got access to the internet.
Yep.
You need to try to make it work with that and that only. Within the confines of how you
have the computer too. You have a laptop or whatever you've been.
Yeah. So everything, like, it basically just all of your businesses right now, they just got completely shut down. You have nothing except for what you had.
And nobody likes you anymore.
No contact. You pissed everyone off.
Now we've changed things completely.
Okay.
Yeah. No, I want to hear Brad. Yeah.
I would probably hit up. I'd be looking for cash fast. I want to. My kind of businesses are either I'm going to be able to provide the service right away, or I'm going to get paid up front. So I want a cash flow positive business right off the bat. Then that'll give me a little breathing room to kind of build something, build up to something. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be hitting any online, like, local forum where if I had to, I could go meet someone. I might. If I want to do web design, marketing, anything like that, if I can find those jobs on there. If not, I'm going to have to scrub some toilets. But I would like to flip a website or two if I can. Get those going, get the cash up front, or at least 50% of the cash up front, because that's usually what I do with a website. So say I do $1,000 website, I'm going to get $500. I'm going to run to, if it's easy enough, I'm going to build it, just shit it out myself. Since in this scenario, we do have a computer. Or I'm going to go, since I can't use my current web design contacts, I'm going to go on one of the other job places, like Upwork or anything like that, to if I'm doing a $500 website, my budget is like $200. If I'm doing $1,000 website, my budget to pay someone max is $500. I want to make more than that, but that would be my very max. So get money rolling in that way. That'll give me some money for whatever else I want to do in the future, but give me at least some padding. Take care of the mortgage if we have a mortgage on our back, stuff like that.
I have to. I love all of that, but I am going out and getting a day job at the same time, just to be safe at this point. Just without the connections, I'm definitely going out, and I'm going to find something that I can count on for a paycheck. Especially now, here's the deal. I'm assuming, like, this comment here. Quicken Loans, I'm screwed. Like, my credit always sucks. It just has always sucked, and I just always fuck it up with business and shit sometimes. But I'm gonna assume that
always sometimes
always sometimes I
sometimes never
in my life, dude. I'm gonna assume that the loans aren't necessarily an option. I've never been the type of person to ask family for fucking.
I won't need a loan,
and I don't think there's any loan needed. But I am gonna go after something secure. And with the single paycheck from flipping burgers, I know I can build a business online that will generate monthly income very easily. So I'm definitely going out and getting a day job. Corey, let's go with you right now. Like, what is your thought process? Step one, what are you doing, bro?
I'm hanging out at Home Depot. Waiting for
with an accent.
Hey, man, no, I would probably there's a couple, and I've thought about this before. Like, what would I do? I would probably get back into construction. I would walk onto a construction site, like the closest one to the house that I could find, and I would just show up with my freaking tools, show up with my work clothes on, and just tell them, like, look, I'm ready to start working.
They wouldn't want me building shit for them. I can get it.
Well, you could be a lady. You can push a broom or something.
Yeah, I can pick some heavy shit up. Yeah.
A lot of the jobs around here are prevailing wage. So even for like a laborer, that's $32-$35 an hour just to go push a broom for 8 hours. Or dig holes or anything like that. So
do you have to be part of the union to get in?
No. So it depends on if it's a union shop. So sometimes you can go into a non-union shop or a construction site that is being run by a general who's non-union, but they have to pay all their their workers prevailing
You have
wage.
to be competitive, yeah.
Yeah, so well, they had to just in order to make things fair for the union, they had to pay all their employees the same. So that's what I would be looking for, like probably a non-union construction site, which you won't find like downtown, but outside, like in the outskirts of town, you'll find a lot of that. And then I would, and I've thought about going like into different industries. I like Mike's idea of going and flipping burgers. Like if you had the thought that you were going to be owning and running a restaurant, that's a good place to start. So you learn how to do that. But that's where I would start. And then from there, I would just jump right back into internet marketing. I'd take that money, I'd invest it into, I'd just build up some landers. I'd run some ads to it, and I would pull some clients in.
I know exactly what you would do, Corey. I've seen.
I straight up. I didn't
scale shit quick.
At the same time, Craigslist has always been where I've been able to hustle money off of.
I can make money on back pages. Is that wrong?
Can.
Yeah.
Fletch, what are your thoughts, man? What are you doing? The first thing you're doing if you need to start again really quickly.
So is this the Undercover Billionaire version where we're trying to build $1 million company?
No. You're just trying to make your shit back, dude. You're trying to feed your family, dude.
Mobile mechanic.
Yeah.
And I'm on Craigslist.
There you go.
And I'm on Upwork, and I'm offering what I know to help people build websites that actually get traffic and convert. I have no overhead. I can work, kind of endless hours, so to speak. That changes if I don't have my tools. Right. So I got all the tools I need to repair cars and vehicles and, mechanic stuff. So if I don't have those, internet, like straight internet.
Yeah. I think I would end up.
I've actually been on Upwork. Yeah. I did hourly work.
Yeah.
All I had was my knowledge. And you can grow from there because I know you can, because I did. That was like when I like starting from zero, I was zero, if not negative. And I didn't really know what to do.
I think I was doing websites on one of those back in the day. I can't remember if it was Upwork or Freelancer or something like that. Yeah.
Well, and so one of the reasons I say like Upwork, like doing like just I'd potentially just go straight digital if I didn't have my tools. There's a bunch of people that need stuff, so provide it. And then once you provide it, you realize there's a lot of people in this pool of the sorts of things that folks need. Okay, now I can start to build from there. I can either do it myself, or I can figure out kind of the situation that a lot of websites or people are in, and I build from there. But if
would you guys go the agency route once you get some breathing room, once you've got the burger flipping money in your pocket, once you've got the odd job, construction, whatever, mobile mechanic, would you go into agency? Would you try and go PPL? Would you kind of go a multi-prong approach? What would you guys do?
Agency.
Yeah, agency.
Yeah.
Would you? I would probably do niche agency, get a lander up, write the copy myself.
Niche agency.
Yes, a niche that I know is going to pay well and that I know relatively well. I know exactly what niche I would target, and I just start boom, 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 email campaign.
So I think it would definitely be time to get the hustle on, and instead of flipping burgers, I might go out to a service-based business, or go out to, I've got HVLP guns, I can paint cars and shit. Like I might go that route and start working the lead gen angle with them as well to try to bring business in. It's not hard to do the first one and bring them in for a job that you're going to get paid on. So if you start to really think about kind of tag teaming and doing double duty or triple duty, there is definitely a way to go pull a paycheck while you are working on building up a lead generation and a client empire again. And I think everyone in here literally started with like either knowledge or pretending to have knowledge and doing this, because I've been on Upwork. I know the money I can make just off of going on Craigslist every day and finding a new gig or finding a new.
You can drop affiliate links on Craigslist.
Straight up, dude.
That's how I started. Just dicking around with it. Yeah.
On Craigslist, like just straight up doing fucking sales on Craigslist, And so it's very possible to just roll through that shit. And the nice thing is with digital is, like for me, I'm not locked into my location. Now it's harder to get the foot in the door, but there's some tricks and tips I've learned to get my foot in the door if it's remote and I can't be there. But to me,
Craigslist is solid, man. I mean, yeah, you should never underestimate Craigslist. I'm sure everyone in here has made plenty of money on that. Like I pulled some of my first like big clients off of Craigslist, and I know they're still there. I got friends who do it, and you know, they do like more of like a consulting, you know, like a consulting role. But there's so much, and especially if you know, there's a website that I used to use, like called the Old Mule or something like that, where you can aggregate Craigslist feeds from the jobs from like 100 different cities, and you can just sort it by keyword, and then you can just go through and you can see all of the you know, just the titles of all the job postings, and then you can just open up the ones that you want to reach out to somebody for, and then hit them up.
Yeah, just make it a numbers game. Well, something else that was interesting from the show that I haven't heard anyone mention here is, how would you guys start networking? We can't use our own network, but we can sure as hell utilize other people's networks.
So this is that was one of the things I was going to talk about. It's like, okay, so you take away my the people I have relationships with, right? The people who know me for whatever they know me for. Like that is one of the assets I really value.
Right. And
getting in with somebody that's already established in a business is going to have a network as well. And so, you know, while I said what I said, the reason why I said that is to establish a relationship with somebody that is going to be able to introduce me to, or at least expose me to, other people who are doing stuff like them, or that are partners. Like mobile mechanic stuff, like it's like, you know, why didn't you go to this shop, or why didn't you go to like wherever? Like, where do you work? Like these are the questions behind the choices that we said we were going to make are kind of really maybe more of the valuable piece to consider, right? Absolutely. Like, why did I say what I said? Well, if I'm dropped alone in a place where I know no one, I need to know somebody, because I can't trade value until I do. And so realizing that the only way you can get a paycheck or money is to know people who are willing to pay that for what you can do and what you can provide is huge, right? It's actually the only thing that you need to focus on to be able to trade, right? If you're going to trade, like, you need money. You don't have any. Somebody else does. You have to form a relationship.
Yeah, that was something interesting that I saw. I noticed on the show, especially in the second season, because it was 3 different people. The first thing they did was network. Like the woman that was married to Timberland, she's on there, and she made friends with a newly appointed like elected official, as well as the mayor. Yeah, the mayor. So she's like having conferences with them. I'm like, how in the shit did she do that? She pulls up in her busted ass Jeep. And she's like, hey, everyone. But her personality made up for it. But it was just interesting how they kind of take over networks. And the first thing that they started doing was looking at networking. The same woman got a job at like a local farmer's market where she knew that people frequented. And that's the exact reason, like you said, Fletch, that's the exact reason why she got this odd job there, you know, just dealing out vegetables at a farmer's market. And that's where she actually met the mayor. And then she starts talking about juicing or whatever business she wants to make, and goes from there.
This question is interesting because there's a big reason I would not do this. And a lot of it has to do with there can be non-competes, and certain states will hold that up. There's also not
That's what I would worry about. Yeah.
Opportunity to make the networking connections. I would much rather go into a service-based business for the lead gen opportunities. There's just a lot I would rather do than go use my skills for somebody else that's essentially a competitor of mine. And that's why I said flipping burgers to me kind of it equates everything. I am going to find something right away that, just in case if other shit doesn't work, there is a fallback plan. Like, I'm always going to go find something stable first. Now, if I can do that, and I can go and I can do that as if I'm painting cars or doing something where I know I can branch out and I can network. Fletch made a really good point that business owners have networks. Like, you can't help but having network if you are a business owner that is working out in public and working around people. So basically what I would do is absolutely find somebody or find a position where I could impress that person enough to get put into their network as quickly as possible.
That's what you got to do. Yeah, and that's what on the show, you remember, Mike, Cardone found a guy. He owned like 3, 4, 5 different businesses, something like that. And he went out and he's like, you give me, you pay for the marketing campaign. It's going to be $5,000. I can guarantee you 15 grand. He came up short. He did 12 grand, but the guy was still impressed. And then he wrote him a check and was going to give him
in advance. Yeah.
Yeah. He gave him an advance on, and the deal was it was 15% over. Like, what's your average for the past 2 months? The guy's like 300 grand. What could you do? At least $1 million or $2 million. He's like, okay, how about you give me 15%? I'll work for you now, not for free, but I'll work strictly 100% commission. I'm going to go 15% for anything over your last couple months average. And he's like, okay, that sounds good to me. And then he's like, okay, I need an advance. I got no gas in my tank, so the guy wrote him a $10,000 check. So.
Well, like the thing that I like most about considering this scenario, it means that your experience and what you know is the value you have, right? If you can start over, you're going to go back to the stuff you can provide, what you understand, like really, leverage or whatever you might want to call it. Like that is the thing that all of us have talked about. Like, I know how to do this kind of thing, in-house SEO for non-agency company.
I still like anything above burger flipping. It would make me nervous because then I've got to quit that job. So I would probably either work odd jobs or get something that's cash based or something just to, where I'm not required to continually go there.
Yeah, turn money and once it's done, you got your money and you can then focus.
That's the only reason why I wouldn't go.
I want to toss away income source is exactly what I'm thinking.
Yeah. Now, if they need an in-house SEO for a non-agency company, so say a plumber is looking for an in-house person, I'm gonna try and sell them an SEO contract at that point. Be like, let me tell you why it's better not to have an in-house.
Which is not a bad angle for Fiverr, dude. Like on it, or for Craigslist, because right here, if you're looking for going on Craigslist and looking for a company that's looking for an in-house SEO that is not an agency, there's a foot in the door right there, dude. Like straight up foot in the door right there. So I do like what TJ said about this. I think there's a lot of opportunity if you take that mindset and run with it. I hadn't thought about that as a way to scrape Craigslist, but that is a good point right there. That gigs and that job section for computer and tech could be a nice source of potential leads right there.
Well, what again, like it points to somebody said, I need something.
Yeah, they raised their hand, right?
And they've already raised their hand. So we were talking about Craigslist. We're talking about different places where people have already raised their hand. Anybody that posts a job, I've actually applied for a lot of jobs that turned into contracts, right? With what I can provide them that don't have to put me in their office for 40 hours a week to do the thing they think they need, but they know they need something in this arena. And so then the knowledge I, have and the experience I have in getting, projects, done or completed or whatever, like it really points to that. So like this is really about building your portfolio of stuff that you know how to do.
Yeah.
And if you know how to do a thing, there's a ton of people raising their hands all over the place and they think they need something. If you can help them understand that maybe they'd be better served to reconsider the structure of that whole thing, you might be able to land, 5 or 10 of those types of positions. And at that point, you're off and running. Right.
Yeah. At that point, you might have close to if the ultimate goal is to build the $1 million agency and you're going by valuation. If you do a 28 to 30x monthly revenue, and that's how you're evaluating it, you'd have to get to between 30 and 40 grand, I think, a month, and then you've got your $1 million agency. And I've seen multiple people do that within. Very, very quickly,
What I really think, like one of the things that I know that I think everyone in here can do, and I think one of the easiest, significant amounts of money with the knowledge we have is to actually go in as a consultant for cost reduction with online and digital businesses. Because no matter, I believe that I can walk into any company online, no matter who it is, and I can save them money. I can make them money without having to increase their spend.
Right. And that's crucial, I think, is like if you can walk in and tell them like, look, at no additional cost to you, I see opportunities to increase your bottom line by 30 or 40%, within the next 90 days. This is my retainer. And this is how long I think that it's going to happen or take to get there. And then again, like, could be getting in and optimizing an SEO campaign or a paid ads campaign and just looking at some things and just saying, okay, you're way overspending over here. You're not spending enough over here, and then optimizing their channels. So 100% to your point, Mike, like you can walk in and just say, look, at no additional cost. I believe that this is where we can get, I'd lay out a roadmap.
Give me 5% of your saving, like straight up.
And then from that point, once you're able to show results and the snowball kind of starts building, you reach out. Who do you know that also needs help type stuff?
The ability to collect the money that's on the table for a company is huge. And if a smart business owner will always, and a smart decision maker will always entertain a way to make their current practices more efficient. So the consultation route, and that's why I'm not big on like, let's go into an agency situation or whatnot. I'd rather go the consultation route because it doesn't get me locked into an in-house anywhere. It doesn't get me locked into something like that. Where
ultimately, though, we're preaching hard on agency stuff, and like you said, ultimately, I want to go do what I want to do. So that's going to be PPL at some point. I might use the agency route as an ends to the mean, but I want to start getting GMBs. I want to start setting up lead gen sites because that's going to create continual cash flow that then will allow me to do whatever else On that note,
like this is not to take away, and I think everyone thinks this automatically that's in this room, but for people that are watching it that don't think this way, is that at the same time that I'm flipping burgers, I'm trying to sell consulting, I'm also building. That's why I'm making money. That's why I want a steady paycheck, because if it takes me more than a month to get off the ground with lead gen, I want to be able to continue going and continue.
Yeah, that's the only downside to lead gen or affiliate, because there is that. That's why I said focus on cash flow positive stuff first. Yeah. And
that's very possible, but I want to make a big point to everyone out there that while this is all going on, you do need to be building assets for yourself. This means that if I am networking in a certain market, I am building sites in that market. So when I go to them, I can go confidently and say, look, I took on a consulting gig or whatever. I can go, look, I saved you money here. Do you want to buy leads in this space as well? Because look what I have here and look what your conversion rate is. So at the time that you're collecting data, doing the consulting, you really can be paying attention to how the conversion rate is, paying attention to the data that you're seeing, and pre-crafting and engineering the sale before you get to the situation where you're actually making the contract for the lead sale. And I think it's extremely important to watch all angles, and you cannot take just one path. You cannot just go and do the consulting. You do need to be.
I'm going to set up multiple tiers.
Yes.
I might even hop on Warrior Forum or Wicked Fire, any of those, and see if I can start selling shit.
So you have a job, you're doing consulting, but realistically, go ahead, Fletch.
No, so that it's one of the reasons I considered that I said what I said. Mobile mechanic, right? Like handyman, same kind of thing. I can do both. And I made a bunch of money, right? Because you get paid cash when the job is done.
Yep.
And now I'm advertising for this is what I did, and I'm going to start selling courses and training.
Yeah.
Like at that point that I've done, I made $1,000 profit last week from zero.
I mean, if you're looking to go multi on that, Fletch, I would probably look at franchising eventually.
Yeah,
you package it up. You've got the marketing. You've got everything done at that point.
Yeah, exactly, right. And so, it's one of the reasons I said what I said. I can do it, and I get paid today. I don't have to wait for the paycheck to clear. I can keep doing it as long as I need to. And when I get this thing locked down and I understand how to get paid, other people want to get paid as well. And I'm going to design a course and start selling courses.
So I think that what I'd like you guys to define now is Brad's talked about lead gen. I know that I have 3 or 4 goals with what I'm trying to do. So for me, I'm trying to get lead generation going on. I definitely am trying to get some sort of recurring revenue, helping people learn and teaching them a service or providing a white label service to somebody. On top of that, I would like to continue the consulting for the extra, chunks of change that come in like that. So that's at least 3 things that I'm looking at putting together. Is there anything else? Like, what are your end goals? Like, you're starting today with nothing. You know how you're going to start. Where are you trying to get to? Like, what is the desire to? What are your goals to get to the freedom you have right now? Let's say that is. I would assume that's everybody's goal, is to get back to the freedom they have right now. Is that true?
Well, it's kind of what we're doing right now. We're just training, like sharing what you have, and the decisions you made to get to where you are, with other people who are willing to kind of pay for insight and a guide, so to speak, with what you offer. I may be a little bit blind to a lot of things that also work, but it's a way to get a lot of value in the market, which means you get paid based on what you've actually done. And what you can actually say from personal experience, this works if you do these things, right? So, like for me, it's going to come down to sharing what I know with people.
And that's what you wanted. That's where you want to get to. You want to get where you're sharing again. Okay.
Yeah.
Corey, where do you want to get to? What is your goal from day one when you're trying to get? You're starting again. Like, where do you want to end up?
I want to end up, because I mean, probably like you, Mike. I mean, I've done some bad things in my credit. I've made some bad business decisions, and I've thought to myself, and probably everybody resonates with this. Like, okay, if I went back 5 years, what would I have done differently with my money? So I would have
invested in Google stock.
I would have bought Bitcoin.
There you go. That too. Yeah.
All like, so we have all this hindsight. Even like I would have worked harder on some of my affiliate sites that are.
If I could go back a month, I'd invest in GameStop.
Exactly. So the end game though for me would be to kind of roll back the clock and say, okay, what are some things that I thought that I would have right now that I don't have in my life? Like, what are the things that I own? How much time freedom do I have? And I would start, and this is actually what I've been working on for the last, several weeks, is I would have more people that are working for me. I think it was John Paul Getty said, they asked him, hey, how do you get rich? And he said, oh, it's simple. You get up early, you work hard, and you find oil. Like, that's how easy it is. So, but then he also said, I would rather have.
That's how Dan Pena did it.
Yeah, it's like, I'd rather have the efforts of, instead of reaping 100% of the efforts of myself, to reap 1% effort from 100 other folks. So I would immediately start bringing on, other folks into my lead gen, into my fulfillment, and I would have a company that's running itself, because my philosophy is, I believe that all wealth is given in order to free up the time of folks, in order to build the kingdom of heaven, the kingdom of God, in order to give to folks who need help, in order to to be the hands and feet of God. So I would have a lot more time freedom to do things like that, as well as enough money.
You make a really good point. I think that. So for me, I want to get back to, like, my goal here is to get back to the freedom to spend my time the way I want to spend it, which is with my family.
Painting shit.
What I want to do. Yes, exactly. And to do that, I think I need to actually be running lead gen. I need to be training people. I need to be doing some consulting, and I need a business running locally, And that's like what I need to have going on at a minimum. And that doesn't mean that's only for revenue streams. Those are general categories that I see. But in order to further that, I do believe that building the network is required for all of that. So what you just said, Corey, I truly think that it is important to not forget along this way that it's easy to get in this, like, I need to protect my family, I need to build for me only type of situation. But that, I like our conversation last week, I think that's mindset. I think that builds, like, an insular, like less productive situation. So the network growth as you're going along, the training goes along with building that. The lead generation goes along with building that. So for me to get to the freedom, I need to have those 4 kind of categories like taken care of. And so I guess like how would you structure, like you've got day one, you're making some money. Like what are you doing to expand this again from the first money you've made at that point? What are you doing, Fletch, to get to the point where you're training again to where you don't have to worry about what's going on? Like, are you focusing on training only and that's all you're doing once you get there? Like what is your pathway?
So I don't know the training yet, right? So yeah. I want to get some jobs. I want to understand what it takes, what tools you need. Like I'm trying to gather information, right? I'm trying to gather like beta on what this is going to take for other people to actually do this and benefit really from this. And, mobile mechanics kind of, it's what I would go to just because I can do it, right? But the handyman thing is probably better because I would focus on high wealth individuals and homeowners who then can help me become introduced to other people in that kind of sphere, right? People with money that need things done.
Target the affluent.
Yeah. People that need mobile mechanic tend not to be the wealthiest individuals, right? They're trying to save money. Right. They can't even drive their car, right? It can get me paid today, but it's not really the way to grow. Going the route, so like handyman, it's kind of you don't even have to, like in a lot of states, and I've done this in a lot of states. You don't have to have that much qualification to do jobs that are,
sounds like I'd be qualified then.
So you're
ready for it, Brad?
I think
Radalicious.
Yeah,
Radalicious.
Yeah,
that's pretty good.
We're doing this.
What that does is it gets you in the house with somebody that's going to write you a check and pay you. That then, if you can impress in a certain way, build a relationship with, is going to turn into another job with another person in that kind of sphere, right?
What's funny, Fletch, I'm going to jump in there really quickly. I'm helping someone local who's been injured. He worked construction for a long time, very successful business owner, but he can't do this anymore, and his business had to shut down because of everything. So he's doing this exactly, and what we determined was that he needed to become a home inspector. So he started inspecting homes, and what's happening is the leads are flowing in because he's doing the home inspections. Now, he's not allowed to take those jobs, but what you're talking about, inspecting homes and doing the handyman DIY type stuff, there's also an online training aspect to that for first-time home buyers and other things. So I think the pathway you're talking about really is pretty awesome, dude, because I see everything I just mentioned, those 4 things, lead gen training, consulting, and local business, right? You're covering it right there in that single path,
Yeah.
And I think that what we're discovering is that it's really important to like have these like multi-goals, multi-purposes as we're going forward, and pick something that allows us to do all of that at once instead of like flying all over the place, right? And I think that you stumbled upon something pretty good with the home improvement and the DIY right there. I think that's a great way to take it.
Well, like honestly, Mike, it's one of the reasons I want to participate. Like, just talk about this stuff. We're exploring. We're trying to, like you said, discovering ways you can get to a place that you can't see getting to yet if you explore these, like, mentally and build out these scenarios. And like high wealth individuals, that's great, but you may not need to be talking to people with $10 million.
Right.
You might need to be talking to people with $10,000 that can pay you, that can introduce you to people they know through their net. Like I don't see a way around relationship being something you want to be aware of, but relationships you can't really actively build. You have to be able to contribute. And so that really comes back to, what can you do for somebody that has money? Like, what can you do for them?
Which is that's
what you have to
business.
know. That's business.
That's
Yeah.
business.
Period.
It's all barter and trade, but also the another way to look at it as well is that as you're networking and you find those people that are talented, there's a source of skill set that you can't do yourself, that if you are generous and if you do bring these people along as well, just because, and I know you didn't mean it this way, but I wanted to make a point. The money has to come in, but also the people along the way that are talented and are hardworking that you do meet. Those are the ones that they always come back a year down the road and like, okay, here's an opportunity to make money with this person, right?
We've had guys selling on Amazon before. He's come back to us,
right,
with 2 or 3 different startups since we initially worked with him. He sold. He'll build it up, sell it, and then come back to us. Okay, I need this website, this website, this website, and it's like, we'll just reach out to him. Hey, John, how's it going? Oh, I'm glad you messaged me.
Yeah.
So. Yeah, I think the last time I reached out to him, Mike and I pulled in. We did $35,000 worth of work for him. It was 2 or 3 website builds, and then the initial content and marketing and all that stuff for him. But it was like I reached out to him on Skype, $35,000, in the bank.
What are we gonna do this week, dude?
Yeah, exactly. He remember where he was? Abu Dhabi.
Oh, he was
buying gold or some shit.
Yeah,
it's fucking crazy. But I am glad I am hooked up with that guy. But dude's insane. And if I mentioned his brand that he sold, his beauty brand, they were selling like masks and stuff like that. A large portion of the people watching might have at least seen him on Amazon. They would know who I'm talking about. Might not know the guy, but it's interesting guy. But that goes back to for anyone who's read Sell or Be Sold, and we're kind of ripping this away from everyone in this scenario because we're saying we can't use the contacts. But in Sell or Be Sold, one of the biggest things that I got from that when I read it a few years ago was your power base, which is who do you know that can either give you money directly or connect you with someone that can give you money. So your power base always converts much better. And T that Mike and I work with. He who shall not be named because he doesn't want to do the kind of be in the light. He is the best guy I've ever met at working his power base.
He's thick at it.
Yeah, he's good. I mean, he's in Miami right now. He sent me a picture of his cigar and whatever he's drinking. It looked like it's probably Tito's. We'll just call him Tito's from now on. Whenever we mention this individual, Mike, let's call him Tito's.
Tito's. It's Tito's.
So Tito's is down there in Miami. He's going to fucking basketball. Well, probably not going to basketball games now, but pre-COVID, he was going to basketball games. He had someone that he used to work for reach out to him, moved to like the Virgin Islands or some shit like that, and is doing payday loans and stuff, and wants some contract work potentially for this. It's essentially like a tribal loan, except it's just offshore, so you can pay a lot more for the leads, and you can kind of get. I don't want to say scammier, but it seems.
No, you can get around some of the legalities that kind of tie down.
Yeah, a bunch of the restrictions that have been put on payday loans, either. The problem with payday loans is a few people have they work the system and then they had to tighten it down, because they're just scamming people. And then
it goes back to the fact that we've discovered the fact, like today, like it's become very obvious that building that network again is going to be the key to success long term.
Have you guys read The Success Formula?
I don't think I have.
Jack Canfield.
It's a yellow book. Hang on, I'll grab it.
I think it's Jack Canfield. But yeah, I think building a power base is obviously going to be huge moving forward, and everybody I think who's watching the stuff already knows pretty much how to do that. But like if you're going to start from scratch, I think somebody said in the chat, like meetups, BNI groups, like I've done that, and like a lot of the local stuff that I've done, at least in this industry, hasn't really paid off. Oh, okay.
That was good. Very first chapter, and I hate networking like more than almost anyone. I mean, we're all introverts most of the time in this industry, but the very first, yeah, exactly, yeah, we're all introverts that fake it like when we need to. I feel like we have that inside us, that extrovert inside us, but then like if I'm at a party, I'm either offending people by drinking too much tequila,
eating edibles.
I wasn't sweating. That's but anyway, very first chapter, your network. Number one key to the success formula is your network. That came to me. I found it through Stephen King. He suggested it in one of his Signals Lab group. So I bought it and I blew through it. I read that in a weekend. It's exceptionally well written. That's a proper sentence. Right?
I would say that Corey had a good point. Like going up and meeting local small business owners to me is not necessarily the right thing to do unless you're trying to build an SEO agency.
I tried that at the e-commerce, or not e-commerce, Chamber of Commerce back in the day when I lived in Burlington. Yeah. So it's a bigger city than Summerfield, but not a lot. But yeah, most of the people that I found that go to those, you might get better results if you went to more, but I didn't go to that many like meet and greet or breakfast or whatever. I just went to a few. A lot of those people don't have a ton of money, which is
that's why they're going. That's why they're going to a place like that, is because they're like, I need business. Like, and if you're at a place basically that is you're letting the world know that you don't have any other ways of generating business. They want to sell you something just as much as you want to sell them something.
Exactly.
So it's kind of, you're not going to find somebody who's actively even though we're probably the only ones in the room that can help them generate the business that they're looking for. It's still a hard sell. So
it was a free breakfast regardless, so I went.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, it really is. Like for contract stuff, if you want, that's a great book.
Yeah.
By the way, somebody, I don't know who somebody was on the webinar or whatever. Somebody sent me this book, and so if you're watching, thank you.
Oh no shit! Nice.
Yeah.
Nice, dude. Hey,
what's that guy's name?
Oh, that's Angel right there. This is
up Angel.
That is
he's the second best looking angel I know.
UI UX web designer,
nice.
Like dude, he does all my stuff.
Can we take him off your hands?
Yeah, dude, he's the best. He's the best. You can borrow him.
I do think that today it's summed up to the fact that the network is extremely important. But also the journey, the gathering of the information. I like the way you said it, Fletch, gathering information. And I think that going out and making that initial money is a way to gather information to get to that point where you can then offer your services in a specialized manner that helps the industry and the people you've chosen to help and train.
Something I've learned from working with Jordan is don't try and start a locksmith business, though. Yeah, even if you know how to break into cars, please don't, because it's a pain in the ass.
You know, the thing about this exercise, Mike, that I appreciate about it is that I think everyone watching, you go back and you start thinking and you're like, man, I remember the days when I was right here. Starting everybody at some point, if you're doing this kind of work, you started over at some point and you were like, okay, like I was going door to door with my business card, city to city, going in and out of all these, locals. I made one sale for $750 for 3 websites for 3 different locations. And I was like, okay, but the hustle was there. And I think whatever it is that you do in your hustling,
show, on a future show, Corey, can we go into like how you were hustling and stuff, like, because I think that's a mindset thing. I would like to get in your head about that. Yeah, like how do you get yourself amped up?
Well, and that's the thing is that, and that's what I was getting to exactly, is that like as long as the hustle's there, you are gonna find a way. The thing that you're looking for is also looking for you, and you keep up the hustle, it's gonna happen. Whether you go do mobile mechanic or you do handyman or you flip burgers or you
that's another chapter in here too, is persistence. It's like it's another part of the formula. Very good book for anyone that wants to.
And I think that's the thing, Mike, is that starting over, it just starts with the hustle, man. It's like, okay, I know what I want to do. I know where I'm going. I don't know the exact path, but I'm going to take one step at a time. I've got a very dim flashlight in front of me, but the best path, it's like, I hiked Mount Whitney a few years ago.
Bro, it's like sobriety, no joke, dude, because it is. You can't know where you're going. It's one day at a time, and you have to keep yourself hungry, dude. And realistically, I know exactly what market I'd be in, and I'd be back in rehab and sobriety, dude, because that's my life and shit.
That's where I would head as well. Yeah.
It's just that's what I would do.
I wouldn't be back in rehab like
a patient.
Well, I'd be back in rehab, bro.
That too, yeah. That's what I would do. It's like, how'd your business go? I don't know. I've been in rehab all 90 days. What?
No, but straight up, dude. It would. there is definitely a process there that I think all of us followed without really realizing it. And what Fletch got back into really, really closely was that we got where we are because of the multiple paths that we chose to take. And now having the knowledge of how it works once you get there, it's something that
feel like we would be better suited now, because it's like Kyle, his talk at Rockstars, NFG Rockstars in Anaheim, his failing forward. Each time you fail, try and fail forward, because you're learning something every time. So we've got all this forward failure, and then you go back to zero. You're going to get to the point where you're at right now much, much, much quicker. Like, it's taken years and years for us to get to whatever point we're at right now. But if we were to go back to zero, I know all of us would be able to, get back to at least where we are now much, much quicker. Which reiterates, if you're going to invest in anything, I think you should invest in yourself and invest in knowledge, because you're going to be able to take that anywhere.
Yeah, it's mindset. I think that like you said, starting over. First thing is you got to invest in yourself and just know that you have what it takes to get back. Because if you did have to start over, one of the biggest temptations that people get into is is in fear. Okay, now I need to start relying on the government. I got to go look for handouts.
That's not a good step, dude.
Right, right. So, but if you allow fear to start making decisions for you, you're going to be paralyzed. And you won't have the creative ability to start thinking about different ways that you can go out and actually start hustling and earning money. But
and that's a perpetual
staying focused. Right, it is, yeah.
Hey, and Mike, if you do flip burgers, can you tell me which Steak and Shake you're working at, so I won't go there?
No, dude, I'm going to make sure I serve.
I'll see you in the back. I'll walk in and walk the hell out.
One of the things Brad said, and we've talked about on a couple of these episodes, we mentioned Jordan Peterson, right? And he's somebody I admire in a lot of ways, and he asks good questions. And one of the things he has talked about in one of the episodes I caught of what he was discussing was, okay, let's redistribute wealth, right? Let's take all of Bezos's money and Musk's money, give it to everybody.
Bezos doesn't even have money is the problem.
Right.
Everyone wanted to tax him.
But kind of the point is let's give it to everybody else. Mm-hmm. Those guys are going to be the guys that wind up with the money.
It's going to end up back at the top. Yeah.
Right? Exactly. Exactly.
Money doesn't flow uphill necessarily. It flows to people that have the ability to provide a service everyone needs.
Exactly.
So it's like Tony Robbins, even going back to a Tony Robbins type thing. If you want to make money, if you want to become wealthy, provide value for other people.
The more people you provide value for. But I've heard that same scenario that Fletch talked about, is if everybody in the world had the exact same amount of money right now, it'll just be a short matter of time before it all goes.
Could you imagine dropping Warren Buffett into the market with $100? I am very curious how long it would take him to get up to $1 million or 100,000 or whatever, starting with $100. Yeah. I don't think it would take long at all, especially if he's not having to go year over year and taking taxes out, say it's in an IRA, if he could just trade up to $1 million, with his knowledge, it would be fucking quick,
Exactly. Yeah.
Fletch, you have anything else before we jump off, man? Because we are pretty close, but I like the idea for next week of what you just mentioned, Brad, about the hustle.
Yeah, no, I think maybe let's open that up for next week. It's always going to be, you got to allocate your time towards something. We want to keep these kind of short and sweet, but the thing that we're discovering, I love that word, is you've got to have something to offer as valuable to somebody else, and then you also have to have a relationship or the potential for a relationship with somebody else. So if you have those two things, you're great. You can go wherever you want to go, but until you have those things, I really don't know what I would offer as a suggestion other than getting those two things. So the scenario today was fun.
Yeah, I would probably, to cover that question, I would keep it in whatever country you're in, at least starting out. I know I'm not going to go offshore unless I by chance meet someone in Malta that wants me to, rank some shit for them on accident.
Can you
but I'm going to stay
clarify
stateside.
Too? Do you mean offshore, like taking and hiring salespeople from offshore, or going and trying to sell?
I think it's starting an agency and taking clients offshore. I'm assuming Facebook user is not in the United States. So he or she is wanting to go to the United States. I could be wrong, but that's how I read it.
Yeah, we'll wait for a second if you want to ask, because that was a good one. I'm glad I saw that. So
after this, I get to build my new office chair, Mike.
Dude, I love that you're all. Dude, that's awesome that you have the office now. That's freaking sick.
I got a couch. The couch pulls out, but I'm not going to finish that joke. TV. Yeah, we're good now. Yeah, I turned we finally finished converting the Ploffice that we had during COVID, which was the playroom plus office, because I moved upstairs and we just turned it into the office. Now I got plenty of freaking room. I could play basketball in here.
Nice.
What's Facebook user logged off, but yeah.
I think it's like, but just like sales in general, like going offshore, like there's no need to like be like, oh, there's not enough here in my own country. Yeah. I'm going to go offshore, and there's enough business probably in the city that you live in. So much less like the borders.
And if you're looking to do it quick, from a conversion standpoint, it's going to convert much, much better. If you're local, I've seen that with like web design leads and stuff like that as well. Trying to do that where you drop pins out of the state, and they want someone local because they want to go to Starbucks and meet you in person and all that stuff. So it will be, from a time perspective, it'll be easier to scale it quicker, at least initially, local, in my opinion.
For this right here, what I would say, if you have a track record working with international clientele, then you can skip that kind of roadblock. It wouldn't be
if you know how to cross that barrier and you have that experience, then I'd say go for it. If you don't, then don't.
I would say, yeah, exactly. That's kind of where I'm at with it. Anyone else?
There's a lot of work in Australia. Plenty of it.
Yep.
I know a lot of agencies out there crushing it.
Yeah, look at your offer, right? If there are people who need what you can actually do and have done, and you have a mastery of, do that.
That's a good point.
And go from there. Right?
Do what you're good at, and then figure it out from there.
Help you get into other areas. I'm certainly not where I was when I was, 20 or 25 or 30 or 35 or 40. Like I'm in a different place. But
you gonna keep going?
I'll stop. at that age, I'll just go ahead and stop. 46, it's all good. But the thing is that when I was 40, I didn't know where things were going, but you keep just like building, right? It's something Mike Long kind of talked about, like build or beg. Build your capability, your ability to deliver results, and then you don't have to beg anymore, right?
Name your price at that point.
Yeah,
essentially within reason.
Point, as long as you're building stuff people need and want, you're good. Right. So, like
Mike's building cars now.
Yeah.
I'm building models.
Man.
No, you're not begging for them.
Don't huff the glue, Mike. Don't huff the glue.
I love the glue.
That's why he does it.
You're supposed to use plastic glue with this stuff, but dude, that stuff like smells so bad that I end up using super glue, dude.
Yeah.
And then I drink the plastic glue.
Good.
Just don't snort it. All right, I think that's a wrap. Everybody.
Yeah, good one. That was a good one.
Yeah. All right.
Later, people.
Peace. Later.
I'm ending.
See you guys later. Have a good week.